What a year this week has been. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, along with Karoli and Aliza Worthington from crooksandliars.com. And I know that we should be used to the fact that we're living a life that's like a roller coaster, right? There are ups, there are downs, a lot more downs. But I'd like to start with our up. And
Yes.
Yeah, we had some ups this week.
that is the elections that occurred on Tuesday. And issue one in Ohio won, which
Yes. By a lot.
by a lot.
Yes.
And issue two, but
And
Yeah.
issue two as well. Issue one gives Ohio people the right to an abortion in the Constitution. Issue
Right.
two legalized marijuana.
yeah, so have sex and get high, people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Except for the fact that the Republicans in the gerrymandered legislature are going to do what Republicans in gerrymandered legislatures always do, and that's ignore the will of the people.
Right.
they're
But
trying to.
it's going to be harder for them to do it with the constitutional amendment.
Yeah, they're going to try to.
They're
Yes.
trying to. They're trying to say, well,
trying
that doesn't negate the ban that we passed, because the ban is the ban. It's there, and I mean, all that is a double dare to go to court and get the ban overturned. I mean, that's really at the end of the day. Oh, I hate that phrase. Sorry, but anyway, that's what they're after. It's just a delay. It's
And
delayed.
I don't know what the court looks like in Ohio. Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you do.
It's Republican, but I mean, I would think that if voters have authorized an amendment to the state constitution,
Yeah.
and that is not upheld by the Supreme Court, in other words, this is
Ohio.
no law. This is an amendment to the Constitution, and that's not upheld by the state Supreme Court, that you would have some kind of federal
I
action.
would hope.
I would think so. And then,
Yeah.
So it was wonderful news, but the fight isn't over necessarily in Ohio.
because Republican legislators don't get it.
No, they get it.
Well,
they just don't
they
want
don't.
to use their power.
Right. They want an abortion ban, and so we're going to get one. I
But
mean,
like they want it at the expense of all the people who vote for them.
You guys, that's the thing. They don't believe in democracy.
right,
These
and
are people who run unopposed in districts where they win no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
and where they are they benefit from being as extreme as possible. There is no one to challenge them.
Yeah.
And they think this is what politics is.
Yeah,
They don't believe in democracy. They don't like democracy. And they support a presidential candidate who has made it very clear that if he comes back to office, he would be a dictator.
Well, Rick Santorum said those words out loud.
I know.
He basically said on election night, he basically said direct democracy is terrible.
Yep.
And it is emblematic of what Republicans believe.
Right.
It's for all their populism, for all the bullshit that they spew about how, being for the people and all that is bullshit. It's just all they want is the power.
Mhm.
And the reason they're clinging to it is because the majority of their power right now is coming from evangelicals, and the evangelicals are, like,
They're authoritarians.
yeah, they are.
Evangelicals are they're pro-authoritarian.
Here's the funny part, though. I was laughing at this on election night. The exit polls showed that 25% of evangelicals voted for issue one. And there was people like David Brody was out of his freaking body over it. He's like, which just tickled me. I loved it, right? And everything, because all evangelicals are that way. Not all, I mean,
Right. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, most the majority of them, yes, are. So anyway, that was awesome. The seeing Moms for Liberty get their collective asses.
Yeah.
God.
Yes.
Oh
Oh,
man.
that was great because they're still. I mean,
Well,
they're making noises in Baltimore too. There's they're
Everywhere. They're everywhere. They're
what
out here
happened
too.
is that the pandemic pissed everybody off.
Right.
People didn't like the pandemic restrictions, no matter how
smart.
they might have been warranted because of the unprecedented nature of this virus
Pandemic.
and its ability to kill people.
Right.
Um, you know, they were angry about that, and that gave them a toehold.
Yeah.
And so they got voted in. But once they were in and they started banning books and making life impossible for transgender and, LGBTQ children,
Hmm.
um, people decided, I don't think we like that
Right.
about these people. And it was good to see that gave me faith, renewed faith in the American electorate.
Yeah,
Was
it
seeing that.
did. And they're out there spinning like crazy. Just to let you know, they're at a wingnut conference in Paris this weekend, spinning like crazy
Oh
that they
yeah, yeah.
have 365 people that they've elected. They forgot about the part where they got unelected, but
Well, I guess that's why Mike Johnson adjourned Congress instead of got
Yeah,
everybody
he's there.
tracking
He's
on
over in Paris instead of,
instead of working on, the
preventing a shutdown.
shutdown. Right. We've got
Yeah.
7 days till we shut down.
Oh
oh,
heck.
you silly
And
people!
Shut down, schmut down.
You think that they want to prevent a shutdown? You're so silly.
I mean, they've been playing this game for
That's
30
adorable.
years. They've been
Exactly.
playing the shutdown game for 30 years, and not once has it turned out well for them.
Not once, but they keep going back and doing it again
Right.
because why not? That's I mean, this week I wrote a piece yesterday because it just pissed me off. They're standing there, in the well of the House trying to defund Kamala Harris and drop her salary to $1,
Well,
and then Pete
And
Buttigieg
Pete Buttigieg too, and
and
yeah,
Karine,
Karine
right?
Jean Paul, Karine Jean Pierre.
Here, right? Thank you.
didn't they try to also do Mayorkas too to
I
just
think they did.
Probably, yeah. All the Biden
somebody
officials.
they don't like in the
But
administration?
here's the thing, that's just filibustering their own legislation. That's what they're doing with that. They're just putting amendments that aren't going to pass, that have to waste time in the House being, added to things. And in the end, my prediction was that on the 17th, the government will shut down and they will not figure out how to reopen it until after January 1st.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be a very sad holiday season
It's going
for
to be tough
people.
on people that want to travel, for
It's
sure.
going to be tough on people who want to travel. It's going to be tough on people who
Want to eat?
want to eat. People whose income comes from the government.
Mhm.
People
Federal
on
aid.
SNAP, people on, I mean, all kinds of.
But
Yeah.
we've been talking about this for the last 2 years, that's what they're going to do, right? They're going to shut down the government and then try to blame Biden and the Democrats for it. They think that somehow that works, like people don't see through it.
Right,
Um,
they're going to blame Biden for not reducing his vice president's salary to $1.
right. I mean, even the so-called moderates, and there aren't really any, but we'll just say the ones that aren't so extreme in the Republican Party are annoyed by this, right? And that's why they had to pull 2 funding bills from the floor this week, because there was poison pills attached that they couldn't even
But
stomach.
they couldn't stomach, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you just like think to yourself, gee, this seems like it would be preventable if they just got together with Democrats and came up with something that was reasonable and bipartisan and sent it to the Senate, huh?
But
I
it's
mean,
against their religion. You know, Democrats are socialist, communist devils,
Mhm.
and they can't make a deal with the devil.
Right.
And they literally believe that we're Satanists.
Some of them
Thanks,
do.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did you see her fabulous video?
When was that made? Was that before she was elected? Because that was, I mean, she was like
She's
spewing
talking
truth
about
stuff
Q.
like crazy.
She's
That
talking about Q and President Trump. So, like, I'm not sure
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it
that
must
when
have
that
been.
was
was
made.
elected.
Huh?
I think so too.
It
I
was
think it was before she was elected.
Yeah.
Oh, before she was elected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she moderated.
Well, you know, you have to ask yourself how much of this crap do they actually believe, and how much of it is it just a cynical play for, you know, fear and, you
To
know,
get
just
popular, yeah.
instill fear for voters,
I'd
right?
say 50.
Yeah. So, I mean,
And
she's
does
out
it
there,
matter?
you know, she's out there calling Democrats, you know, what was it? We're all child
Satan.
molesters or child traffickers. And,
Pedophilia,
yeah.
pedophiles, and
Here's the
and
thing. I
Satanists.
have news for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Satanists.
I have a report I get every day that gives me the news about pastors and other officials who are have kiddie porn and pedophile, you know, or who are pedophiles, and you know, and everything. I've been following this for a while because of all the scandals in the Baptist church
Mm-hmm.
and everything with regard to this. And every day I get a report in my inbox. I do not get a similar report for Democratic elected officials. I don't get a similar report for, you know, just secular people.
That's because the deep state prevents it, Karoli. The deep state is suppressing it.
Oh,
Sorry.
is that what it is? Well, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but it's just
No,
like,
it's true. It's true. And not just you know, there's in Baltimore too, the Catholic Church is I've you know, for my
on the
job,
East Coast, the Catholic Church is just wackadoodle. I mean, I'm
it
sorry.
is, but I mean, in Baltimore, it's really bad. We have for my job, you know, first thing I do in the morning is I go on Twitter and I search Baltimore, and you know, just to see if there's anything that happens that I need to, you know, look at covering. And you know, I'll find it eventually. There was some recent, you know, just in the last 24 hours, something about some church some Catholic church is gonna end up going bankrupt because of how
Being
much they've
sued
had to,
because they're being sued.
Because they've had to.
how much they're having to pay out.
Yeah.
And it
Oh, I
is,
believe it. I
You know,
believe
the sad thing is that pedophiles are everywhere.
Mhm.
Not as many or as prevalent as the Republicans seem to think, but maybe that's because they're all going to church where they're seeing so many of you know, I think the projection, once again, the people who are obsessed with this have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, as a parent, we make sure we know the people that our children are interacting with, and we are vigilant,
Mhm.
you know?
here,
And
I found it. It's from a few days ago. Baltimore Church to end religious services after priest suspended over sexual harassment settlement.
Gosh.
St. Benedict Church in Southwest Baltimore. He's a Benedictine monk.
I
He's suspended from the ministry after the Catholic Archdiocese of Baltimore recently became aware of a payment he made to settle sexual harassment allegations.
Oy.
the thing that really upsets me is that, you know, people worship, they go to their
Mhm.
church, and they go for good reasons. They go for the spiritual benediction or whatever, and they trust their leaders. And what this does to someone's trust in faith is really horrible. And you would think that instead of covering it up, the church leaders would do more to stamp it out.
You'd think so, but
It's not
there's a
good.
whole culture that's
There
Yeah.
is a whole,
and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It's just
no,
that
but I mean, like, you know, you go all the way back to the Pope. I mean, this has been known forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Let's
yeah.
talk about a little more projection.
Yeah.
This week we
It's
found out.
everywhere.
This week we found out that James Comer, who is now subpoenaing Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's brother, to come before the committee because he's accusing them of money laundering because they repaid family loans to Joe Biden when he wasn't in office. Turns out that James Comer lent his brother $200,000.
The
Right.
exact same amount.
And a lot of, shady looking deals in their
Shell
farm business
corporations.
through
Yeah.
shell corporations and projection. Just
This
because
was my favorite story this week. This
It is.
might have given me as much joy as the election story.
It did. I completely agree.
not getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it's so delicious because it's just perfect projection. I mean, and honestly, this is what people have to realize when they accuse is because they've done it.
Yeah.
It is projection, but it's also they've done it, so they know all the absolutely
Terrible thing.
diabolical ways
Yeah.
to do this stuff. So Hunter Biden, or excuse me, not Hunter. What's his name?
James, is it James Biden?
James Biden. Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's James pays back Joe 200,000 and then another 40,000, right? In a
Yeah.
year where Joe Biden is not holding public office, is not running for public office, is not doing anything with regard to public office. And they make this huge big deal out of it because the guy that's the head of their committee is actually doing the shady deals with his brother with the 200,000 and the rest of it. And who knows what money laundering he's putting on.
That's right. That's right.
But the thing is, would we have even found this out if he hadn't been
No.
digging into Joe Biden such for the exact same thing? It just seems so
Well,
it seems so counter, like if you want to be a smart criminal, don't accuse somebody else of the thing that you're yourself doing. It seems so like, are they really slow learners?
They're
Or
really arrogant people.
or is it just arrogance? It is.
Yeah, it's just
I
arrogance.
guess arrogance makes the most sense because, like, to me, it just seems so obvious at this point. Anything they accuse you of, any Democrat should turn around and say, "Oh, let's start digging."
Right.
except that we're more interested in governance.
Right.
And this is a lesson that they learned.
But you just have an intern, set an intern on the case, like and then we'll govern. It just seems like
the entire Clinton administration, he was under investigation.
Yeah.
They didn't find anything until
the blowjob.
By chance,
until
they discovered the blowjob.
Right.
Yeah.
And blew that.
Yes. Had Hillary won, they would have done the same thing to her.
Of course they would have.
They would have.
They had already done that to her.
Yeah, before she even
Secretary of State.
I mean, consider the fact that Obama went through 8 years in office, and they tried and tried and tried to investigate him, and they couldn't come up with anything.
Not a thing.
And I mean, just think about how actually good of a man he is that happened. Right. And the same for Biden. I mean, Biden's a good, decent guy. He's been in government forever.
And the same thing too with Hillary when they finally discovered the email server. That was the only thing they could glom onto. And the misogyny and hatred of the media helped them blow that up.
Why I Will Never Forgive Jake Tapper, Chapter 1. Yeah. He was awful. He's like, oh, another installment. Let's see what we can find in here. I'll tweet everything.
Well, Jake, the New York Times.
Yeah.
Ugh,
it was awful. But anyway, I mean, it's just, I think that the lesson we learn for going forward, and I think we have learned going forward, is that you have to just close all that noise off and just focus on what we're doing. And one of the things, like going into election night this week, I was nervous. I was especially nervous about Virginia. Part of that was,
I haven't even talked about Virginia.
yeah.
Virginia.
Well, part of the reason I was nervous about Virginia was because I hadn't heard anything about Virginia. I
Right.
mean, it's like
Right.
nobody was talking about Virginia.
Yeah.
I wasn't hearing any buzz about call until the very last week. I finally heard about phone banks, but that was it. So I was nervous about that. And a lot of this was because we were hearing all this noise in our ears about Biden having low polls and blah 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 blah,
Oh,
right?
well, it was a crescendo the beginning of the week. On Monday,
Yeah.
on Sunday.
It just, yeah, it was constant go go go. And so on election night, I was pretty nervous. What are we
Mhm.
gonna, is this gonna be a disaster? The lesson I learned is that all of that was noise, and that there was actual real organizing going on the ground. We've got a shit ton of just a great ground game going in a lot of these places.
We've got some wonderful grassroots organizations.
Mhm.
Shout outs to Indivisible,
Yeah.
to Red Wine and Blue,
Yep.
to Run for Something. I think they had like a couple of hundred candidates
I
run for
think they did
something in
too.
local races around
Yep.
the country.
I've
This
never
is
heard of that. Run for something? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Run for Something. They're wonderful.
Yep.
They look for people and train up candidates to run for local office.
Right.
Sister
City
District is a
councils.
good one. They get people,
Mhm.
Sister District gets,
Mhm.
people involved.
And I don't remember this degree of grassroots organizations, at least not that were easy to find,
Yeah.
prior to Trump.
I don't either.
And
And
in a way, if we survive this period, the Trump presidency may be ushering in a new golden era of participatory democracy. But we
Yeah.
have to get through this first.
well, I
And a
think
lot
the
of,
other lesson you take, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
I was just going to say the other lesson you take out of this is that the you just shut out noise and focus on what is needed to do, right? And get it done, get the vote out, get everything else out. And I don't know, I lost my train of thought just now, but anyway, it's my point is that um the media is not our friend, and they're
Increasingly so.
right, and they're not going to be our friend.
Right.
So
Nope.
the more you can shut down that noise, and the more just focus on the truth of things, I think the better. And so that was my lesson learned. My lesson learned was that I heard too much media noise and not enough actual truth of everything.
Yeah.
So that takes us to Biden and his so-called negatives, right? And I'm just not there for it. I mean, first of all, it's a year out. A lot of things happen in a year, and he's going to run
And
against Trump.
he's going to be great, and he is great, and he's doing, and Kamala Harris is going to be great, and she deserves so much credit for not just what happened in Ohio with question 1, but she deserves credit for what happened in Kansas. She deserves,
Yeah.
whenever that was. What was that? 8 months ago? 6? How long ago did the Kansas vote happen? That
Years
just
ago.
a year ago. It was a year ago that just blew people away, because the minute Dobbs fell, even before Dobbs fell, before when she was on the road talking to attorneys general of states where there were trigger laws. Okay, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to deal with the fall of Roe, should it happen? And it looks like it's going to happen. And she was on the road dealing with this, and preparing and helping
People
from
forget the
get-go. And she has been just an absolutely stellar
Yeah.
advocate for women's rights, and people know that. Like, people, I mean, the media doesn't want to give her credit, but I don't know if you saw Basil Smikle on Nicole Wallace's show. Was it yesterday or the day before, maybe? But it was after Tuesday. It was after the results of the election, and he was great because he was just giving her all the props, and he was giving Biden all the props, and he was saying, Kamala Harris is she does not get the credit she deserves for the amount of success this administration has had, and the amount of success the down ballot Democrats have had in these special elections and in these lower these lower elections. And she is so popular everywhere she goes, everywhere, and so is Biden. So is Biden.
Yeah, the other thing,
the way he handles hecklers, the way he handles, the way he handles just anything spontaneous that comes up, a spontaneous question, is he's so sharp. He's so sharp.
But that's not what the media is telling us, is it?
I know, because they want a horse race, and
they want a horse race, and so they have to find a way, just like they did with Hillary. They have to find a way to denigrate him and
to equalize it. They're trying to.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I don't think really gets enough credit is he's the most pro-labor president we've had probably since FDR.
Okay. Can we talk about the labor victories?
Yes.
During his presidency?
I am very happy the SAG-AFTRA strike is finally over.
Yes.
And, people in my state are going back to work. And it's not just Hollywood. The productions are all over the country.
No, it's all over the country.
It's all over the country.
UAW?
UAW was huge.
UAW was huge.
And don't forget that, now non-union shops like Toyota have raised the rate of their workers because
9%.
of the UAW deal. Because that's what happens. If you've got strong unions, even the non-union employees benefit because
those bosses don't want their people to unionize.
Exactly. So, but I don't think that the media gives enough credit to that. And by that, I mean, when you see these polls, when you see, I mean, the labor movement is certainly not a monolith. I mean, there's certainly members of unions that support Trump, but I would say overall, they overwhelmingly support Biden. And that is in itself a huge organizing thing too.
Traditionally, that has been the Democratic base.
Exactly. And it was kind of not, it was kind of floating away in 2016, but now it seems to be coming back firmly in the grasp. And I don't think anybody realizes how much power they have when it comes to electoral power. I mean, certainly Republicans know it.
That's
what they have to get rid of all the unions.
That's why they were so afraid of them.
Right. So,
but by definition, they have organizing power. It's what they are.
Right.
And by being so pro-labor, probably the most pro-labor president ever, pro-union president ever, it sends a powerful message.
It does. It's one that I think gets minimized to the detriment of
everything is getting minimized. All the successes are getting minimized. Did you know that mortgage rates in this country have gone down the last 2 weeks?
I did.
You're not hearing that anywhere?
No, you're not hearing it. I only know it because I have the little financial page that I have to get.
So, but nobody's ballyhooing that. Instead they're saying, well, yes, Biden's done a good job on the economy, he says, but people don't feel it because they can't afford a mortgage and they
or their rent or whatever.
And these are definitely problems.
Yeah.
Do you mean the interest rate on mortgages, or okay, that's what's gone down?
That's what's gone down. But at the same time, what we had when he came into office it's been nothing short of miraculous.
Yeah.
Right.
how much better things are so people can complain about those things.
Are you going to make me go on Zillow while I'm on this podcast?
No, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
But I
And
might.
as I always do, because this is my pet bugaboo. One of the reasons why housing is so unaffordable is that during the downturn of 2007, you had corporations buy up so much housing stock and convert it to income property.
Yep.
And that there's no competition. So homes that people can get into are really scarce. And you've got these nationwide landowners that are setting these prices on these rents that have nothing to do with what the market will bear.
Right. And then you have new builds that had the problem of inflationary supplies.
Right.
So
Right.
that was the other piece of it. And so
It
there's not
unraveled.
Yeah.
Plenty of housing stock out there.
So I don't know if you heard this, but the Biden administration just made it easier to convert commercial properties to residential.
Excellent.
I mean, that's something that should have happened
It is.
years ago, right? We have a glut of commercial properties on the market. And
do you forgive my ignorance?
Empty office space.
Thank you. So you mean like office buildings and stuff can get turned into apartments? Got it.
The problem with those, of course, is that they are already mortgaged to their owners with the idea that they would be earning a lot more in rents, and that the conversion cost, like you've got to have a kitchen and a bathroom. And
it's going to have to get changed into apartments.
So there has to be a way to make it economically attractive.
Right, for the developer.
Right.
And that's what they're doing.
Right. That's what's good. That's what's good.
So that, and they're cutting a lot of the red tape in terms of the permitting that has to go on.
Right. But they also have to make it, financially viable, because the banks that end up owning these things after repossessing them, they can just sit on it for a while,
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know about you, but we've got a ton of unused office space out here, like tons of it.
We all do, because the economy has changed.
You're right. There's not as many people going to the office. There's more people working from home.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Somebody slacked me. I hate that. I shut my Slack, so I shouldn't have even gotten anything, but I did anyway.
Who's slacking you?
No, it's the different Slack. It's not the one you think. It's not the Crooks and Liars Slack. It's a different one. Anyway.
So while we are talking about President Biden's reelection chances, shall we talk about and I get to use the word first, the fuckery that I mean, we do this rundown before the show, and the way I worded was Joe Manchin and fucking Jill Stein joins fucking Dean Phillips, fucking Cornel West, and fucking RFK Jr. in fucking around with third-party distractions.
Boy,
did Manchin say he was joining the
Manchin is just teasing it at this point, and I don't think in the end he'll do it. And the reason I don't think in the end he'll do it is because he won't win. He knows he won't win, and he wants to win.
Nobody wants Joe Manchin as president.
Right.
Nobody on the right, nobody on the left.
The whole reason that he's not running for re-election in West Virginia is because he won't win.
He's not going to win. Yeah.
Right.
But he's getting attention, and that's what he does want.
Yeah, he
loves that. But can I just say that how much it pisses me off when people are like, Democrats are, good riddance. No, I'm not. I don't feel that way. He voted with Biden 90% of the time. We're going to get a Republican in there now, and I'm not happy about it.
Who used to be a Democrat, so he's.
I guess we don't know.
No, he's a Republican. He would not be a conservative Democrat. He is a Republican, Jim Justice.
But he used to be a Democrat.
I know, because the whole South used to be Democrat.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm one of the good riddance people. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know that he voted 90% with Biden, but he stymied Biden on the key pieces of his agenda that would have guaranteed his reelection.
The thing is that he's still in office until January 2025, and he still has a D next to his name, and we're still in charge of the Senate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 2024, we already had a tough map to face, but we knew that Manchin wasn't going to win. We knew that that was going to be a Republican seat in 2025.
Okay, so it's not really new information for
No,
us. It's
not
not,
really.
doesn't change things for us. Okay.
It lets us put more money into the tester and
Yeah.
Sherrod Brown.
Yeah,
And
that makes me feel a
also,
little better.
don't sleep on Missouri and Josh Hawley, because there's a great candidate in Missouri, Lucas Kuntz, and he is, he's got all the right pieces to actually challenge that little twerp Josh Hawley. And Josh Hawley is the least liked senator in the whole
It
Senate.
really is. Nobody likes him.
I mean, can you imagine somebody more unlikable than Ted Cruz?
I know.
Well, I don't know. Has he reached that point?
Mm-hmm. He is more unlikable than Ted Cruz, and for
that's
me, it's like Tom Cotton and Josh Hawley are kind of like in the same neighborhood,
boy.
unlikability wise. But
How about Tuberville?
Tuberville is just stupid. Okay, and it sounds like Amy Klobuchar's figured out a way to get around his holds on the military. It's going to need 60, but we know that there's enough Republicans to get to 60.
Republicans are pissed at him.
Because they're mad at him.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to see that. I cannot, but they had Doug Jones. He was such a class act,
I know.
They had Doug Jones, and they replaced him with this idiot. And I just wonder if it's Alabama, right?
Yeah, Alabama.
I wonder if the people of Alabama can see what he's done to our defense.
You know what? It's interesting because Alabama is a big. There's Southern state, and obviously they're very fundamental. So abortion is a thing; it's a big thing for Alabama, but so is the military in Alabama. And there's a lot of military contractors in Alabama. There's a lot of, and I could see where they're pretty much done. And the interesting thing has been to watch the Republicans on the Senate floor go after him for this. I mean, like I saw Lindsey Graham, and I'm like, wait, is the moon full? I'm actually agreeing with Lindsey Graham, but he was just the beginning. I mean, there was Dan Sullivan, there was Joni Ernst, and all
these. She's ex-military, so
right.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna, for the people of Alabama, it's gonna kind of come down to, what matters more to me, national security or abortion, right? Because if it's national security, then you need to not vote for Tommy Tuberville ever again as long as you live. But if it's something else, then God love you, as Biden would say. So I don't know. But as far as these third-party candidates go, I mean, we're still in the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as concerned as I would be, I guess, if there was, other than Jill Stein. Jill Stein does concern me because she got all that money in 2016 from all the people who were, bought into her lie that she was going to audit the results and blah, blah, blah.
Plus, she's another Putin agent.
Exactly.
She's still a Putin agent. She always was, and she still is.
As a RFK Jr. is just, I feel like it's just this quixotic,
well, I just feel like he's mentally ill.
Yeah. I mean, normal voters, Republican or Democrat or independent alike, if you're, the only people that's going to take from are the Q people
or the Republicans. Yeah, he's not gonna hurt the Democrats, I don't think. But
yeah,
I think
I can see Jill Stein hurting the Democrats.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
and it's for Cornell. I mean, okay, Dean Phillips,
oh yeah,
Aaron Rupart put something on Shitter today that was perfect. He basically
Who did?
Aaron Rupart.
Oh, okay. What did he say?
Yeah, he basically said, why anybody would sit down and think, yes, this is the year where I should go and run down Joe Biden in the primaries,
right?
When democracy is at stake is beyond me. And that's kind of how I feel about Dean Phillips. It's like, I don't know what you're smoking, dude, but
Dean Phillips is another deluded, narcissistic rich guy.
Yep.
Yeah, truly. Truly, he is. So, and then who else do we have? Oh, well, that's it. Okay.
Just Cornell West.
Cornell West, but Cornell West is like probably run from his debts. He's got a whole bunch of debts and things that he's got to deal with. So and he's, I mean, I put him out there in La La Land too, actually. Jill Stein is the only one I see as a real threat. So I don't know. I mean, that's going to be part of our education process in the, upcoming days is to, for the next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to really.
Jill Stein is a vote for Donald Trump. That's the end of that. That's
and
all.
a vote for Putin, and we're gonna have to like really, really remind people. We're gonna have to bring up everything from 2016. We're gonna have to remind people what a grifter she is. We're gonna have to remind people how in Putin's pocket she is. We're just gonna have to.
But I understand
remember what she said and remember what she didn't do. Remember what. We're just going to have to hammer that. You want to be a fool. This is definitely a fool me twice situation. The people who voted for her the first time may have really had good intentions and thought they were, making a real statement. And okay, yeah, no, you can't do that again.
But the problem is the people who feel that they hate both candidates.
Then stay the fuck home. You know what?
A vote for Jill Stein is like staying the fuck home.
I mean, she's not, though. That's not staying the fuck home. That's giving Trump a vote.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
I hate Biden a vote.
People, honestly, people that feel like they hate both candidates can just stay home. That's fine. If that's where they're going to go with that. I mean, if you're in that mindset, then you really don't get how serious this election is. And it is serious.
Yeah.
And it is, which brings me to, we have to talk about this.
Wait, hold that up a little higher. What is that?
Number 1.
Oh.
Best-selling book by Rachel Maddow. And
okay.
Karoli has read it.
I haven't read the whole thing.
No,
I'm only like at chapter 25, but
hurry up.
I read enough of it
at
this point that I can tell you that you have to read it for a number of reasons, not the least of which is to understand that history is repeating, and it's repeating right down to things like a trial with multiple defendants for sedition and, the shit show that became. And I mean, I just finished the chapter where the judge, I don't want to tell you what happens. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
okay.
Because those of us that heard the podcast know a little of it.
Yeah, so, but it's very little of it. I mean, this book is...
Which podcast first? Is the podcast also called Prequel?
No, it was Ultra.
It was
Ultra, okay.
Yeah. Okay, but no, this is like taking that podcast and expanding it out to 45 episodes with all kinds of different players that she didn't deal with in that small little podcast. But the thing is, so it covers the years from about 1938 to, well, so far I'm up to about 1944. Okay, and the Nazis that were in this country and what they were doing, and this is the part that's in the podcast, right? That they were, so I'm not going to spoil it. They were in the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, and everything, and they were like literally sending Nazi literature out from their official accounts.
Yeah, pranking,
right?
U.S. government was paying for this stuff to be sent out.
And everything. And there's so much more than that and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be a spoiler because this really is a cliffhanging book. Like you will. Yeah,
no, I know a little bit about
you will be like, oh, I can't stop reading this.
Okay.
And
well, that's a recommendation. And you guys, if you're Christmas shopping now, that's a
get it for your friends too. Yeah.
Hanukkah's early this year too. Hanukkah is December 11th.
At least it's not November 29th. I hate it when it comes in November.
No, it is not in November this year, but hang on, I'm checking.
Yeah, I knew it was in December.
Oh my God. Okay, Hanukkah's December 8th, people.
Okay, I still have to get 8th.
for those,
for those who
keeping count.
yeah.
So do we want to talk about the Trump family on the stand? Because that's actually pretty funny. I
That is
mean,
fun.
yeah. I mean, so Ivanka, I guess, purred her way through her testimony as one
Please
does.
don't call it purring. It's not purring is something nice that cats do, and cats are good creatures.
What
She
would you call it? Because it's like, when she purrs, she
it's
talks.
croaking. It's like she's talking. She's like perpetually hawking a loogie while she's talking. It's not purring. It's not nice what she does when she talks.
Well, that's true. The judge didn't think it was nice either. He kept telling her to speak up because she was too
Good, because she's fucking annoying. Anyway, say hawking.
So yeah, so there was that, and then they had Junior, who and Eric, who took the stand last week and admitted to crimes on the stand.
Oh,
and everything.
good boy.
And then they had, Daddy Trump himself took the stand on Monday, and yeah, that was an interesting Monday. I mean, he basically did what you expect him to do, right? He filibustered. That's what he always does. It's just blah 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 blah. But the judge was not there for it. He was like, "I'm not having this from you," and basically threatened the lawyer, if you can't get him in control, then I'm gonna just excuse him from the stand and draw every negative inference I can from that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, ooh, dude, you are dead in the water now.
I'm just going to assume the worst.
Just Trump goodbye, organization goodbye.
Yeah.
So the lawyer
pacifier in his mouth and call it a day.
Right.
So the lawyers, I guess, got Elise Stefanik to help them in a filing to get the whole thing dismissed today.
Every lawyer I know that's looked at that thing has said it's not going anywhere. She's not even a lawyer, right? I mean, somebody drafted that for who knows who, and put it in there. But she's a servant of Trump, so
as they all are.
As they are, exactly.
I mean, his attorney said that he gave the best testimony of any client he ever had.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I really wanted to say so. I wanted one of us to bring that up about his testimony. Best performance on the stand he's ever seen.
That was for an audience of one. Right. I mean, that was, hello, Mr. Trump. I'm licking your butt now.
Yes, please pay me. Please pay my bills.
Right.
And then in the other cases, Eileen Cannon has not changed the start date yet.
She will.
For the documents case.
I promise you she will.
Oh, yeah, she's still saying that she thinks that the attorneys need more time to prepare because they, the conflict with Jack Smith's DC case.
I mean, this is not hard. There were classified.
What's happening? Remind an old dummy what's going on.
Eileen Cannon is overseeing the documents case.
Okay, say it again, Karoli.
Eileen Cannon is overseeing the documents case.
Right, in Florida.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, this is a cut and dried case, right? There are classified documents at Mar-a-Lago that aren't supposed to be there. He wouldn't give them back, and he doesn't have any authorization to keep them. Done. Boom. Honestly, any other person would have already pled guilty. And
any other person would already.
So what's the issue with the calendar, though?
Oh, so Jack Smith's trial is supposed to be in March. Is that
March.
right? And she had
May 25th.
The documents scheduled for May, but now there's discovery may, because they may need more time for the documents case. And the thing is that really disturbs me about this is that they're going to get access to classified documents that they don't really have the right to. And she's going to give it.
Well, on top of that, Trump wants to publish all the classified documents.
Right.
He wants to
all the war plans with Iran
documents on Truth Social.
Yeah. Do you think that that's a smart thing to do right now while there's a war with Israel and Hamas? I don't think so. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Not just that, Yemen has declared war with Israel, haven't they?
Everybody has jumped in it to some
Iran is saying that it's going to be impossible to contain it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I hope. I mean, I don't want to end on a stressful note. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of rhetoric flying around right now, and
Yeah.
that
So I just, so Eileen Cannell is saying that her case that's scheduled in May will need more time.
right. And so she's going to put it till after the election. Guarantee you, she will.
She
I promise
will,
you.
but she did not do it today, and everybody was
She did.
expecting that she would change the date today.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
okay.
she did today was she slid all the deadlines, like by 1 to 3 months, the deadlines for filing things, the deadlines for producing discovery, all of that.
Okay.
She did that by 1 to 3 months, which actually puts a crunch on doing a May trial, because if they wait till the last day to do it, and you know that Trump's lawyers will for sure. I think Jack Smith will just turn over whatever the discovery is as soon as he's got it, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, she's just serving her boss.
So what's the trial that's supposed to start? So Jack Smith also has the trial that's supposed to start in March, and that's the insurrection.
Yes, and yesterday we discovered a key bit of his strategy in that he did not charge Trump with being with fomenting the insurrection. That's not
Right.
what
No, but with conspiracy.
But he is presenting the insurrection as the culmination of the plot to overthrow the election, all the other things that he tried that didn't work.
Right.
Right. So, and I think that's smart, actually smarter now that I've been reading Rachel's book, because that is the insurrection, seditious conspiracy, all of that is very hard, super hard to prove.
Yeah.
So, and if there's no like direct line, say from him to the Proud Boys or from him to Oath Keepers or whatever, it would be really difficult to prove it. So they were able to prove it with those guys, but Trump would have plausible deniability, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, well, he had
And what is it that Jack Smith is trying to charge him with then, if not
In the
seditious conspiracy?
January, he's not charging him with seditious conspiracy. He's charging him with everything up to that point, though.
Okay.
So the thing that Trump is most on the hook for and will probably go down for is the fake electors scheme,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and the way he enabled that.
And they
So
can directly tie him to that.
right,
Mhm.
and John Eastman, by the way, was found culpable by the California bar
Right.
for his part in everything. And so like a fool and against his lawyer's advice, he went out and did an interview with CBS 60 Minutes last week. Why they platformed him, I will never know, but they did.
It went like so long just letting him spout his garbage, trying to
Lies after
hide
lies after lies.
what's wrong. I am just an attorney, just trying to help with legal theory. I mean, very reasonable.
Vigorously defending my client, blah 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 blah. It's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it was just the segment was halfway done before Pelly finally pushed back on him.
Right?
So when do we find out that this idiot's been disbarred?
Any day now, I hope.
Well, I think they're considering that now. I don't. I mean, they came out and said he's culpable, and then they
Right.
come out and say what he's punished. He'll be disbarred, though. He
He
will.
needs to be disbarred.
He does. I mean, these guys need consequences for what they did, because the more that I read about the fake elector scheme, the more brazen I realize it was. It was just they were going to, again, projection. They were going to steal the election. And they
Right.
were going to do it with fake electors. And they
Right.
were going to pretend like that was all perfectly constitutional.
Right.
Speaking of stealing the election, can we talk a little bit about Mississippi this past Tuesday?
You mean how the black precincts always seem to run out of ballots
At 8 a.m.?
At
Yeah.
8 a.m. At 8 a.m. Like, this is...
Imagine if it had been a fair election. I mean, maybe
Can you imagine?
lost, but imagine
Reese might have lost.
election.
It would have been, I think Mississippi is the perfect microcosm of how Republicans cheat.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways they do. I mean, they do it. They already knocked 15% of Black people off the rolls, either because 10% are felons and so not allowed to to vote. And I don't remember what the other 5% is, but I read it the other day. But it's 15% automatically gone. And then, I mean, you saw the lines. We all saw the lines. We all
Every
saw these people
election we
waiting
see
in line
this. Yeah.
and everything because they ran out of fucking ballots at fucking 8 a.m. in Black precincts.
Yeah.
In Black precincts. And that, I mean, if that is not a stolen election, I don't know if
What is?
Mark Elias is like on this or able to. I know. I don't know if there is grounds for a lawsuit.
Well,
Um,
he
but
did sue to keep the precincts open longer
he,
while they
yeah, and that worked. I mean, the precincts were open longer, but I mean, who
How
knows?
many people
But
would
what? So, how long did it take them to get more ballots? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that. And did it make up for the fact that people probably had to either go to work or go home, or for whatever reason, did it make up for the number of voters that couldn't vote because of that in that ridiculous
This is why they
ploy?
don't like vote by mail anymore either. Now that everybody uses it, they don't like it.
Yeah, they loved it when it was just them using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my God, make it easy for the people we don't want to vote.
Yeah.
Shut that down.
I mean, what happened in Mississippi, even if he did still lost, I would have been okay if those people had been able to vote
Right.
in a timely fashion.
Right.
Right. But the fact that they weren't able to vote in a timely fashion and he lost just pisses me off.
Yeah.
It really does. So, and I don't know what to do about it. They're the most conservative. I mean, like if you took the South and you concentrated, right, where the corruption and the conservatism is, it would end in Mississippi.
Well,
Yep.
Tate Reeves is a perfect example of it, isn't
He
he?
is. He is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. But so then was the one before him. What's that? I can't remember his name, but I mean, I remember calling him Boss Hog back in the day because he was, so it's just been, I don't know how you shake that loose. I really don't. I don't know, but I wish we would.
Yeah.
I feel like we need observers and we need, people to go and register
That's
more
what I'm
people.
wondering. Like, if there's something preemptive we can do.
We need to get the Voting Rights
The
Act.
Voting Rights Act. Yeah. I mean, like, it would have been nice, gee, I wonder if maybe they hadn't gutted the Voting Rights Act, if that would have helped.
Yeah.
It would
But
have
hey, there's no need for the Voting Rights Act. Everybody's allowed.
No, it's all we fixed discrimination. We fixed racism, guys.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, we have 2 minutes left. There was
2 minutes.
definitely a lot to talk about.
This was fast. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you doing this weekend? Anybody doing
Um,
anything fun?
No,
No?
I'm planning Thanksgiving. My sister is not doing Thanksgiving this year because she's going to be a grandmother again. So she
Oh,
is
boy.
spending
yay.
a month in Austin,
Ah,
and I get to host Thanksgiving for the people in the family who live down here. And
Nice.
I'm not good at it. So
Aw.
I'm just going through recipes and
Peter.
an inventory of my serving pieces to see if I have to buy new things, and you know, I'm trying to figure all that out.
I'm a big fan of the catering.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that won't go.
That
Oh,
won't
okay.
fly. All
That
right.
won't fly.
All
Potluck?
right.
No. Nope, nope, nope,
That doesn't fly either.
doesn't fly. The
I
one
don't
thing
like your family. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
what we're going to do is what we did during the pandemic. I've ordered a spatchcock turkey, and it's gonna go on the grill.
Oh, that'll be good.
And,
Very yummy.
cooks in half the time and, really is delicious
Yeah,
barbecue
no,
turkey.
it is.
I have to Google what spatchcock is.
It
But
means you cut it down the middle and it split
yeah,
it so it's sitting
It
flat.
sounds dirty.
I know,
It is.
it's a great word, isn't it? Spatchcock. Spatchcock.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to have lunch with my mother-in-law tomorrow with Steve. And then I don't have other plans except, are the Ravens playing this weekend? Who are we playing?
I think Cleveland.
Cleveland. So
All right.
hopefully I'll watch the Ravens beat Cleveland.
You're set. And Karoli's going to finish prequel.
Yeah, and probably walk another 6 miles. Just
There you go.
It's great to walk and listen at the same time.
There you go. All right. Well, that's our show for the week. Join us next Friday on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, along with Karoli and Aliza Worthington, saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat's part of the Demcast family of podcasts.